2.
Today sucks if you're out in the workplace.
It is St. Patty's Day, though. So
I know. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
That doesn't make it better.
No, it doesn't.
Starting to lose it at work.
Uh-oh. Already?
Yeah. These people drive me nuts by Tuesday anyway, so.
Well, see, now this is, okay, so this is an interesting, well, it's also going to be interesting to get Paul's take on this. So, day 2, everybody's already crazy. I'm seeing this everywhere. Have you seen this?
What do you mean, everybody?
Like all sorts of people going, wow, you know what? I'm already going crazy.
Yeah.
Like on Teams chat, like our chat at work and everything. People are, nuts and.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we're a pretty self-isolated family as it is. And I work from home, so I'm used to this. You can still go outside, There's nothing against going outside, going for a walk. We're stay 6 feet apart from someone.
Mm-hmm. My wife is working from home, and she has created a schedule. We preempted our 10 o'clock walk because it's cold outside, so we've moved it to the afternoon. But yes, so we have a daily scheduled walk.
God, I don't understand then. How are you working from home if you're taking walks and stuff?
Well, I mean,
you should be doing that in an office.
Yeah.
Speaking.
I take walks. I take walks at the office.
I'm not doing this work thing the right way.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Of course, I mean, your type of work makes it kind of hard to, you can't
leave my desk. Exactly.
Yeah, it does make it kind of hard to leave your desk. Although, for your health,
I should.
Thanks, Steve, bro.
For your health. So
yeah, we're not going crazy here yet.
No,
we're walking. You can get in your car and go somewhere.
Sure.
Where are you going to go?
Oh, probably to a park or something, not to a restaurant.
No.
Now the thing in my mind is, when is the next time we need to go to the grocery store? Because we will run out of like milk or half and half or things like that. And do I do the full, we don't need it, we can survive without it, or be like, well,
no, you should go.
Do a late at night sort of thing is what I keep thinking when maybe less
you
people
can
are
go.
going. But
the
thing is that you can go, but it's people touching stuff, people around you.
And wear gloves. That's what I keep telling my husband. Wear like latex gloves when you go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Or, or just a pair, if I don't want to look super germaphobe, which I mean is totally okay at this point. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
It is.
I would choose maybe some work gloves, or
and wash them when you get home, or whatever. But
I think
I wouldn't do it. I'd have no problem with rubber gloves.
Yeah, there was do any of you listen to the Daily?
Not yet.
Any chance?
No.
They just did an interview with a doctor in Italy, and he was crying. He was literally crying because he's like, we so badly thought that we could just handle this, and the problem is like the hospitals are overrun, not with people from the flu, but from everything. So they're basically looking at people and being like, you're going to die. Sorry.
Yeah.
They don't even have time to contact.
Yeah.
Because they don't have enough beds. They don't have enough respirators. If you have cancer or something else,
they should be treating those people first.
But they have to figure out who to treat first. Like,
they don't
maybe
know.
the flu isn't as bad as something else. So you might get the flu and you might die.
Yep.
But here's the thing, I'm still having
triage.
a hard time
that's
understanding.
just standard medical procedure anyway.
And he keeps saying, like, Americans keep thinking that this is not going to happen. We are 3 weeks behind where they are. And he's like, it's going to happen unless you stop interacting and stop doing shit, which everyone's like, don't panic.
And he's like,
panic.
Understand is there's a very small amount of people that this is fatal for.
Right.
So why are the hospitals not just, if they're not in that window, saying self-quarantine, go home, and then treating the cancer patients?
I think we have a misunderstanding of how many people a hospital can house.
Yes,
for one.
I think.
I don't
part
think
of
that
it.
many people need to be hospitalized because they got the COVID. That's what I'm not understanding.
But you
It's
do. The problem
how
is
many?
that if you
Like, how
really
many?
have it, if you have COVID, not the virus part, but the
Right.
disease part, which is what COVID-19 is,
right.
you need to be in the hospital because they
Right,
have
but
to
how many
quarantine you and treat
people
you.
are there that they're overrunning people who have fatal diseases otherwise?
Well, you have people giving birth. You have people
Yeah,
who
but
have
they don't
injuries.
necessarily have COVID-19.
No. But I'm just talking about it's that hospitals don't have to deal with just that. They have
Yeah,
to
they
deal
have
with
to deal with
everything.
Right, I understand that. And
So
now
if there's even 10 people in one area, that could overwhelm them with all the other stuff that they have to do because they have to keep those people away from everyone else
Mhm.
so that you don't get someone who's already in the hospital down with the immune system with cancer, newborn babies.
Right.
I just
That's,
can't
there's
imagine that they're
infrastructure
not
that they've got to
treating-
set up. They've got to set up
Right.
quarantine areas, which means if they set up a quarantine area, then that may, let's say, create empty beds that should be holding somebody but can't because it's part of their quarantine radius. And and that's just a hypothetical, but that's one way how this could affect others is that it lessens the amount of beds because of how let's say a smaller hospital may not be equipped for that. So the best choice for them is to do something like that. Whereas a larger, more advanced hospital can keep fuller beds because they have ways of doing what's called negative pressure systems in the rooms, so that way they can close the room and the ventilation in the room sucks instead of blows.
Right.
So so none of the virus leaves the room because it keeps sucking in. So yeah,
and the other thing is we're at the beginning. So it's not an issue yet, but it very well could be, which is what the Italians and everyone else is saying. You're not there yet. When you
need
get
to set
there,
up
it's
makeshift
overwhelming.
hospitals.
Yeah,
Like
they've
it's
done
war.
that. That's where
have
where
done
the president says, "Hey, we need the National Guard or whatever."
We should
But the
use
problem is
those
we also don't
tents
have
down by the
enough.
border.
We also don't even know. We don't have enough tests to test people to know if they have it. Ohio has 1,000 test kits available for millions of people, which that means they don't even know what to do if someone comes in and says they have symptoms. They're like, we can't even test you. And the other thing is, this is a brand new disease. We don't know much about it at all. So that's kind of frightening too, because we're there's no vaccination for it because it's brand new. Nor do we know its effects. They're even thinking now that you can get it again.
Yeah. However, I did read some encouraging news. I did read some encouraging news last night on a German medical study that is showing it still needs to be peer reviewed and all that stuff, but it is showing that people who have shown symptoms that in mild cases, 5 to 8 days, even though they're still shedding the virus, they are not contagious.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to figure out that. Yeah.
So
they don't know the
there could be
contagion.
some good news there that, as long as you've got somebody who's not, super now, and then, a stronger case, it could be the full 10 to 14 days. But,
let's discuss the economy.
Oh my gosh.
That's
going to be the worst.
That's going to fuck us
the much
for
bigger
years.
issue than
I agree.
anything whatsoever.
I agree, but we're kind of doing it to ourselves in a way too.
The problem is that
I know. I'm sorry, size guys.
No.
I don't know how to talk about
true
it
and
because
not
I'm not
true.
smart enough to talk about it in any sort of intelligent way.
Well,
the problem is that here's the
asking.
difficulty. It's the risk of doing nothing is such a big risk that it would devastate the economy.
I don't think that we need to do nothing, but it's
so.
I
If
feel
all
like
we
we've
have to do
gotta
is
do
look at what has
something.
happened to the countries that didn't do anything and what it's doing to them.
I'm not
Italy
saying
isn't
we
doing
shouldn't do
anything.
anything.
They are
I'm
now
just saying that we should consider the repercussions it's going to have for it's not going to, years, right? Like a couple
No.
of years. There's going to
It
be
won't be,
businesses
actually.
closing.
Yeah, probably
People
no,
are going to
I mean,
lose their
you're
jobs.
looking at something like a complete economic collapse.
That's what I think is going to happen.
No, because there's already been economic stimulus packages that have
What
passed.
do you mean no?
I mean,
Well, no, unless we keep doing what we're doing, which is acting like it's not a big deal.
Right.
No, I'm
The problem is by us overreacting, quote unquote, we are stemming off years and years of issues. Italy is going to be dealing with this for a long time because their hospitals are at capacity and bad. They're losing employers or people are dying. So I heard a figure, and this is from someone who's very skeptical, that said we can expect 500,000 to 1.2 million people to die from this in a matter of months. That's awful. It's like,
worldwide.
Yes, the flu. No, in the
Okay,
United States
in the United
alone.
States. Okay. Well, okay. I was gonna say that seems like a low global number.
Yeah, no, that's just the United States alone. It's
Okay.
like that. A lot of people die from the flu, but the problem is we have flu vaccines. We can control it. This we don't know.
Right.
So the downstream, the economy is getting affected because we don't know. So everyone's kind of like, do I sell off all my stock? Which doesn't affect us
No.
mostly. What affects us is short-term labor, part-time workers,
Yes.
people that are in industries that can't work from home, and that's where the government
Like
is trying
me.
to create stimulus packages where we give them their income or we demand that companies be like, you need to give them paid leave, not just fire them. Like that's where we can help. But if we're like, it's not a big deal, they're going to
But
have
if you're
massive unemployment,
Yeah,
which is what will affect the
I
economy.
mean, because that goes. I just think about the food service business alone. Like the restaurants here. Well, I mean, many restaurants are closed, but most restaurants are doing okay. You can do takeout or delivery only, but you can't dine in. So so they're not closed. So it's not it's not going to collapse the restaurant, but it is certainly hurting the restaurant.
It could collapse the restaurant.
Well, it could in
Yeah.
the case of like small ones that weren't doing that well in the first place.
No, Jeremy, I think even small ones that were doing good.
Well,
Like an urban table
and
has
that-
to
and
be
that's-
closed
that's-
for a month.
sure.
They're
I mean-
fucked. And the servers are fucked.
and that's where our,
You're right. I
our-
won't disagree. You're right.
and that's where the government can come in and do something.
They're not gonna
bailing
care
out big
about-
companies, but saying
They're not
hey,
going
look,
to. Why would they help a non-chain restaurant in Prairie Village, Kansas?
Well, they should
It's
help.
gonna close.
They should help everyone.
They're not
just
going
certain
to.
things.
They're not going to.
No, and that's the problem, and that's where the alternative is to be like, well, ignore it and just go to work and survive, because then we will be in a worse situation where there's no way to repair it.
But what about like those servers? They're going to have no money. They can't pay their rent.
Well, that's what I mean. The
They're gonna
government
do
should,
anything.
like, the Congress keeps proposing, like, hey, we need to
The-
give everyone tax breaks, everyone basically a income.
Yeah.
Like the government needs to pay people to stay at home, essentially, which I think would be great. Like you said, I am very skeptical that it ever gets passed because Mitch McConnell's an asshole, but
Well,
that's
I
what
just
would help us. But the
Yes.
problem is that they're politicizing it rather than humanizing it. And that's the problem with the economy.
That's
Is they're like,
that's the
ooh,
way that it always is.
Mhm.
So
sadly. And that's where it's like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't sort of thing. We can maybe reduce the amount of deaths, but who knows? The unknown is always unknown, right? We
I
don't
think
know.
that's what I'm feeling is the whole damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So the best
Oh,
thing to do is
frustrating.
to be the individual who's smart about like, well, I can at least control my impact. I can control my
Right.
contribution, and I can put pressure on the people who can make, like, Planet Money and stuff, talking about like all the economic measures we do to save ourselves from different kinds of catastrophes don't help in this regard. Like with the economic collapse of 2008, those kinds of things that we did will not help here because it has nothing to do with
No.
the other. This isn't people afraid of a market collapse or something. This is people afraid for their lives, which we need to treat it more
Well,
like
and also isn't-
probably more like a war than like an economic thing.
Because
yeah, I think that does make more sense.
it's
But
the
again,
poor
that's
people.
terrifying for any of
Well-
us because none of us have ever lived through that kind of thing. So it's
Right.
all new.
Well, none of us.
Oh my God, we have to look to the
Americans who
boomers.
weren't
Well, wait,
in the
they haven't
military.
even really either. Well,
You guys, you can't say that because people who are in the military have lived through this. We just
No,
I
I mean,
no,
I don't
I
mean the
mean-
military. I mean, Americans as a whole have not been through some sort of world war
Yeah.
that I mean, there are obviously, but the mass majority of us have
Yeah,
not.
I mean,
so
right. Like
we don't respond to it in a way that maybe others who are like,
I
oh, I
think I
remember
know
World War II, we had a ration, and we had to do
Yeah.
this and
Yep.
sacrifice that.
Yep. Victory gardens, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. But this
I
is
mean,
different where
you
we
know,
can't even
that's not gonna happen
gather.
in 2 weeks, but you know,
3 weeks is the outset, but
right. But I mean, still, you know, there are lessons to be learned from that.
I mean, Ohio we were supposed to vote today. That got turned off, which is good. We're not.
It's all part of
been
his plan.
postponed to June. All part of his plan. Our great leader,
yes,
our dear leader.
Supreme
it's too
leader.
dangerous.
I
to
don't know.
vote.
I mean, the thing is, like,
Supreme leader.
everything is who knows. So, in the moment today, what can we do? Right. I mean, that's about basically the way you have to.
Right.
Today is mitigate how much you interact with people so that you don't spread it and make it worse. That's about the only thing we know for sure that will help. Everything else is unknown. Right?
Right.
Which isn't comforting.
Yes.
And I think at this point we have to be like, look, there's not a lot of comforting anything right now other than, hey, you get to spend time with your family, be at home. There might be some upsides of like, we'll figure out the economy can run pretty well when people do work remotely, and that can save a lot of costs in business.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
but
that
you
there are
s-
definitely some upsides to all of this.
But you are saying the opposite thing. I'm sorry. I'm like
What?
getting all irritated.
What?
because
What? Who's
but
saying
you
the
just I'm not irritated with you guys, just irritated with people in general. You said stay at home and spend time with your family, which is a complete contradiction to working at home. Like my husband has to work at home, but our kid Atticus can't be there or he can't work. So we're
I
not
get
spending
that.
any more
I
time
did
with
it for a
family.
decade. I understand that.
So how do we do
completely.
that? How
that's-
can we do this?
That's I think that's what we're going to learn. I mean,
That's true.
you know,
Having done it for a decade, it is.
What are we going to learn?
You
How
have
to
office
train our
hours.
kids to shut the fuck up?
it's been a
mean,
day,
no.
Joy. I don't know.
Well, you just Paul.
Weeks.
Paul's been
So-
doing it for 12 years or however long. So I'm asking him.
So I found a space that was quiet. I let everyone know, like, I'm working.
Yep.
What I did was basically the old college dorm thing. There's a hat on the door. Don't come in and bother me. I
Was
just
there a
worked from our
4-year-old
bedroom
boy
floor.
in the house with nobody else to watch him,
I had an infant and a 2-year-old when I started.
and no other adult there?
No, my wife was there.
That's what I'm saying. We don't
I
have
know.
that.
It sucks.
Ton
But
of
she would
people
have to
don't
go
have
out, and so then I found maybe I'll work at night. I'll work when they are napping.
But my husband can't do that.
I mean, in all honesty, anyone in work actually gets work done maybe 4 hours at most in
Yeah.
an
I
8-hour
understand.
day. But
Okay.
that's not really the point. The point is that's why we have to pressure our government to provide us with a stimulus that helps everyone, because people who, like you said, single parents or everyone that works, some that can't work at home, some that can, some that don't have the opportunity, like, hey, they're going to fire me if I don't come. Like, those are the unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
If you are at home, then you find the times that you can work. But if they haven't said, if you're
Unless
not
your
hourly,
work
if you're not an
depends
hourly
on-
rate or you're still getting a salary, then you do what you can to get what you
But my husband gets salary, but he has to work during certain hours because all of his work is on the phone, and he's.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes
That's where the TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's where people have to screw their screen time. I mean, I'm not saying
Well,
that you.
Oh, yeah.
Still not going to
I mean,
hold
we
a
lifted
4-year-old.
you know.
No, there. Like I said, there's not a lot of comfort. There is nothing good about it.
So here's what's probably going to happen, and this isn't right, and you guys are going to hate this. I will probably have to bring Atticus here to work because there's room for him to run.
Oh, well,
And that's not right either, right? Because now I'm bringing him
Well,
around.
he's not gonna. He's
7
not
other
gonna
people.
get it from what they've said.
But he could be a carrier, right?
He could be.
Could be.
But, I
They don't
mean-
really. They don't really know that either. They don't know.
No.
They're not sure. They still don't even know if it's carried by people who don't have symptoms or only people that do. Like, that's what's scary, is like we don't know
That is
much,
scary.
which is why everyone's like, just stay home, because we don't know what this might do. But that doesn't help the kids that have to go to school, because that's the only place they get a meal,
Yeah.
Ugh,
or care.
That
Yeah.
makes me so sad.
And that's the sucky thing of all this.
Well, but
is,
I mean,
like,
there-
you're
you
going to
know-
hurt some and help some, and
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I have to go up into our room every now and then, but then I'll take my computer down here and work in the living room with the kids there. They're older, but when they were young, I would hold a baby and work. I would tell people that I can't take calls. I can do emails or chats because it's too loud for me to talk on the phone. But
yeah, I mean, I've got the loud one. The loud one is sitting right behind me because he can't be upstairs because we had to make the living room into Robin's makeshift office.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's where like some of the change.
And she's like your husband, Joy. Like, well, she's not on the phone, but like she has to concentrate, you know.
Right.
And I mean, if he's talking to people on the phone, you know, they all know that this is happening. You'd be like, I'm sorry, right now, my kids are at home with me, so forgive me if it gets loud.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's anyone out there who isn't like, well, fuck you, because
oh my God, our
normal,
our video chats are chaos, and we've all acknowledged the fact that in 2 weeks, I mean, it's just if we think it's bad now, you know,
just tell everyone.
And we just know that
mute.
That's the new normal, and mute when you're not talking. So, which I know doesn't help your husband, but.
Yeah,
but I guess you'd be truthful to the situation. If you have kids that are crying at home, you just say, "I'm sorry if it gets a little bit loud. I'm doing my best," and hopefully people are forgiving. If not, they were never your friend to begin with.
Just to play devil's advocate, he also has sales numbers he has to hit. So let's say he doesn't hit them because he can't.
That's going to be
as many calls or whatever. I mean, everyone's
going
sucks.
to be dealing with that.
Yeah,
we're the lucky ones. Like
you might actually see an increase in sales because people are being more compassionate. That's why I said, like, as a salesperson, sometimes being honest is how you get a sale.
But I'm just saying he wouldn't be able to take as many calls, and the more calls you can take.
It's not always the more calls; it's the more calls that turn into.
In his business, it is the more calls you can take.
It's not about converting anyone.
Converting them to what? Christianity.
Well, you're calling someone to sell them something. I would assume, otherwise there's no sales. So the phone call.
I'm getting pissed off.
Huh?
Yeah, I can tell. So
I think it's because I have PMS, though.
Okay. Well,
I mean, you should be pissed off. This sucks.
You're right. It does.
It sucks. It's going to suck in ways we don't even.
And
know.
It's going to get a lot worse.
Right.
Probably.
All right, so we're at 22 minutes.
Which is, yay.
we're 22 minutes. I said we were going to try to keep these about 15, 20. So I've realized a new goal. We were trying to figure out new goals. New goal is to help Joy work through hysterical anger.
Thank you.
Because I'm sensing a lot of it.
Keep watching Frozen 2 over and over.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So that's our new way to be like Mr. Rogers and look for the helpers.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse.
Right. So let's keep an eye on that, and we'll talk again tomorrow and see if she's still alive, I guess. Right.